Third Ward Alderman, Chad Tuneberg. Chad, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Riley. Good morning, Joe.
Morning. How's everything? Calm?
Well, we're pushing along. A lot of wheels turning right now. That's for sure.
Have you got an overheat warning on your phone yet? I would assume it can only take so many calls before it begins to overheat.
Yeah, you got it. And some of those calls are coming from the restaurant and bar owners. So it's definitely a tough situation, tough business to be in, no question about that. Mm-hmm. And now with the latest round, it makes it even tougher. If it wasn't tough before, it's tough now again.
Yep, business owners get together last night. Giovanni's kicking around their options on this one. There's a threat of litigation. We have some lawyers weighing in on the pros and cons and who has the power and who can do what with all of this. What's your take?
Sure. Well, I'm very extremely happy that they are getting together and coming together as a unit and have maybe a louder voice than just being a single. Coming from a single voice, they can come in as a unified group. In fact, probably within the last week and a half or so, I've had specifically two businesses, two restaurants that have reached out to me and said, if we close down again, we're done. I mean, it's not done out of frustration saying we're done. They're just done. They're financially tapped out, drained completely. They said if we get shut down again, and again, these are businesses. These are your neighbors, and they are just getting financially pummeled by these actions. There's just still there's what they talk about is that they are doing everything that is being asked of them to do. And they are doing it. They feel they're responsibly doing it. They know their business. They know their customers. And they believe they are actually being targeted and picked on, that they are being the scapegoat, being used to be a solution to this problem. One of them even talked to me a couple days ago that they feel that they are dispensable. They are looked at as being dispensable by this administration in Springfield, because if they close, no big deal. Someone else will eventually come in and open up within that space. Unlike maybe a manufacturing company or companies of other natures. So they just feel that they are actually looked at as being disposable. They're looking for proof. They want to see proof in the numbers, in medical proof, or however it can be proven that they are the problem. And frankly, I haven't seen anything showing that they are the cause of an uptick in numbers. They just, again, feel like they're the first and easiest target to be picked on.
To be fair, about asking for proof, what would satisfy these owners that this would be the right spot? That's my feeling again. And again, I'm coming from the place. I want these places to survive. I feel horrible for them. But when we talk about there's no proof out there. Where would those numbers have to come from? What proof are we looking for to make this acceptable?
Yeah, Joe, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would have to be where the health department would actually show some proof that restaurants and bars are the cause in this case. Maybe back in Chicago, back in the St. Patrick's Day time, when a lot of this stuff started coming down, a lot of these mandates started coming down in Illinois, of which I preached from day one that the governor should have taken a regional approach to this situation instead of blanketing the whole state with mandates that specifically, many of which was caused by actions in Chicago. Frankly, we're not Chicago, and neither is Southern Illinois. So, maybe yes. At the time back in this, when on the onset of this, when bars were jammed and restaurants were jammed, maybe there was some proof in the pudding that there was some cause due to those actions. But right now, bars and restaurants have been so diligent for the most part. Yeah, maybe you can point to a couple here and there, but for the most part have been very diligent on respecting and following the rules. And so there just isn't, I don't see, and they especially don't see any proof that what they're, especially after implementing all the rules that have been put in place, that they are the cause of this. And, you know, with school coming back in session, people just feeling more comfortable to get together and mingle and in private settings and all, you know, there could be a spike just due to that. But the first thing that seems, coming from what I'm being told by these restaurant and bar owners, the first thing that happens is they go right after the bars and restaurants because they're an easy target.
And I brought this up earlier. We were talking about it. We keep saying restaurants and bars, and I think you know, and I think we're aware. Those are two different social situations: restaurants and bars. Have you heard from maybe some of your restaurant owners that they would like to maybe have a carve out for honestly sit down restaurants as opposed to a bar where people were walking around socializing? Is there a push to separate those two entities?
No, I mean, I haven't heard of anything other than a couple of them have reached out and said, well, it's kind of funny that casinos and gambling and the slot machines can still be open. And so I don't know and what that is, but, you know, they believe that, again, they're being picked on. They talk about yes, we are concerned about the health. We're concerned about the prospects of people dying, but they need to realize that we're dying. We're dying a different kind of death. Our livelihood, one told me specifically, my livelihood is being stripped away from me. I'm being just devastated financially. It's causing hardship and stress. And you know what that can lead to? That can lead to a whole nother set of other issues.
Yep.
One individual told me asked me if I've traveled the world quite a bit. And I haven't. There's still a lot of places in the United States I'd still like to see. So, but he has, and he said he's been to other countries where literally he's seen people build up businesses with everything they got only to have the government take it away. Now, he's referring, he didn't have to say it, but I knew what he was referring to, places like Venezuela and other countries where the government just comes in and says, sorry, we're taking over. And he feels that this is, in his eyes, almost there's a parallel. He said the government's coming in and they're stripping away everything that I've worked for is falling apart right in front of my eyes due to these mandates on our business that they have no proof that we're causing the issue.
Yeah, and as far as that, we talk about the proof. This letter that the local lawmakers have sent off to the Illinois Department of Public Health. One part of the letter says it's clear the mitigation order put into place to take effect October 3rd will cause restaurants and bars to bear the overwhelming brunt of the new restrictive rules. Yet, from the department's own data, we know that restaurants and bars are not one of the major causes of the spread of COVID-19.
It's absolutely baffling. I mean, these businesses have been absolutely so devastated, and in the past umpteen months, remember, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Yep.
And I heard it back then from some of these businesses and more of them than not, when I was out walking and visiting them and fielding calls, that they were pretty unified in stating that we believe it's 2 weeks is going to hurt, but 1 month, if we're closed more than 1 month, it's going to kill us. And 1 month, we would have been blessed if it was only 1 month.
Right.
And I get it. It was the beginning of this whole thing. We were trying to figure out what this virus was all about. So yes, there is some understanding as to how long maybe that took. But boy, it's as we've learned more about this and the number of restrictions that have been put in place, some of them justified, and what they have done to temper the prospects of getting this as a result of being at a restaurant. It's just for them to come out and just go right after the restaurants and bars is ludicrous.
And when the letter points out that the department's own data, when they refer to the department, they're talking about the Illinois Department of Public Health. One of the active members in putting forth the mitigation efforts, saying that their own data does not support the moves they're making.
Yes, but I don't know how much our own Winnebago County Health Department is challenging any of these. I mean, if they are seeing cracks in what the state is doing, they should chime up and talk about that. I've seen a comment, I won't mention names, but a comment by an individual in particular that was almost militant, that we're going to come out and we want people to tell us, we're going to come and find you, and it was almost a militant type of statement at these businesses who are sitting there just getting killed financially, while this person on the government dole doesn't have to worry about anything paying their bills, because they're just getting a solid paycheck, whether restaurants and bars are closed or not, or businesses in general are closed or not. This person's still getting paid the same, but these businesses are getting killed and having to miss rent. Another person that I talked to, another business, said, yep, they are, just talked to me about a week ago, and said they are definitely on one of their properties going to miss rent, and they've never missed rent before. So, these are real life situations, and need to realize that when making these decisions.
If you guys are just joining us, we're spending some time with our friend Third Ward Alderman Chad Tuneberg, kicking around the mitigation efforts that go into play tomorrow. The efforts to have those delayed, stamped out, whatever. Have you talked to anybody, Chad? Anybody call you on the phone who runs one of these joints who went, you know what, to hell with it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to comply.
Yep, about 2 days ago.
Well, I mean, and real quick, Chad, I mean, they feel free to confirm, deny, or just ignore this statement right here, but I think it's kind of an open secret right now that these mandates aren't going to be enforced over the weekend. So my tinfoil hat right now tells me that this is more of a, I don't want to say, I hate the word fear-mongering, but this is just a way to reduce population in the bars, maybe by those that are scared now will stay away, and those that don't want to do what they want to do will go ahead and go to the restaurants. Do you know anything about not enforcing the mandate?
Well, it's not that I have heard of business owners over the past umpteen months, and not just bar restaurants either, that have stated, my whole life is put into this. My whole financial situation rests on this business that I've spent financially and put all my heart into. And when it comes to having to feed my family and pay the bills, I will do what I need to do. A lot of them won't tell me specifics. I'm not somebody for anarchy, but
I don't think that falls under the umbrella of anarchy, really.
Yeah, no, you're right. But if someone tells me they have to do what they have to do to feed their family and put food on the table, pay their bills, and that's about how they've put it. They will do what they need to do. Now, it's not talking like, some radical thing. You're talking about just maybe opening my business and letting some patrons and customers shop in my store. It's not like it's a life or death situation of somebody holding a gun to somebody's head. This is just simply, hey, I may want somebody to spend some money at my business so I can maybe put some food on my table.
Right, and keep my lights on and pay my bills and remain living in my house. As far as enforcement goes, I'm looking at a report over at mystateline.com. It says, for Winnebago County, where the positivity rate is much higher than Joe Davies, Sheriff Gary Caruana said his department will not enforce the new rules. I can speak for me and my department, quoting Sheriff Caruana, in this county, we're not doing anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And whether the state or whether the county does or not, I don't know what then if the state can come in and do anything. There is some, you have to watch on things such as liquor licenses and food licenses. If you're not following the rules, if that has any play into going further than what, say, the sheriff's office can do. Yeah, I would urge any business owners to look into those types of things. If you are not going to be, if the county sheriff's office isn't going to enforce anything, are there other entities that could enforce in some different way, shape, or form?
Or you could be looking at a retroactive payback on this one later on with a liquor or food license, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean you're getting the city involved a little bit in that, but this is more of a county health administration issue. So I would look into things, and I'm glad those guys got together last night. The restaurant and bar owners over at Giovanni's. I'm glad they're learning things like their rights and maybe what they can and can't do, and just again getting together and being a unified voice instead of being fractured or in factions. And so I am happy for that.
Yeah, and not a bit surprised either. The first time went through and it was difficult enough. Coming through a second time, I expected there to be an organized effort to fight back against this, and I'm not disappointed in seeing it.
Yeah, well, it's tough, during that, and it's tough as aldermen, not just me, but the other 13 aldermen. We know a lot of these business owners personally, and we interact with them frequently, and so you get to know them, and you know where their heart is, and it's not that they want to follow the law, they want to follow the rules, and for the most part, they have been doing that. And that's what's so frustrating with them, is that they're the first industry and businesses to be picked on in this latest round. So it's frustrating for us aldermen that there's not. This is something beyond our scope. This is something beyond what we can do in many cases. So it's. Our hands many times are tied. And I've said frequently, when the governor was not holding legislative session earlier this year, and they weren't taking calls from many of the concerned people in office. I mean, I've said if you got Sosnowski and Cabello and Severson, he wouldn't take their calls, and if they're relegated to complaining about all this stuff on Facebook, you think the 3rd Ward Alderman from Rockford is going to get through to the governor and tell him what to do or suggest some things to do? And you know what the answer is, and that's what's been absolutely frustrating about this, is when these business owners look to us for direction and help, and you're helpless. It's sad.
Well, and we keep getting pounded with that phrase, well, we'll follow the science. We're following the science. We're following the science. Well, in this letter where they bring up saying your own data set doesn't support the move you're making, is that not following the science?
Right. Put your, start walking the walk if you're talking the talk.
Yeah, well, there's been perilously little of that, unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of talking. Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of talking. Chad, as always, we know you're busy, and we appreciate you carving time out for us. It's always informative and interesting when you join us and fill us in on some of these things, and we greatly appreciate it. If anything else breaks that maybe we ought to know about, please feel free to drop in at any time.
Hey, thanks, guys. Joe Riley, always a pleasure.